You're handed that little white paper bag at the pharmacy counter, and inside is a bottle of pills that represents a promise of better health. But what is it, really? A tiny, precisely engineered chemical key designed to unlock or block a specific process deep within your body. Here's a reality check. The instructions printed on the label are just the absolute basics, the bare minimum for legal compliance. They don't tell you the whole story. Your pharmacist, however, holds the rest of that story, and it's your right to hear it. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the videos and subscribe to the channel, but only if you really like what I'm doing here. It's always fascinating to see our community's reach, so feel free to share your city and what time it is for you in the comments. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most fundamental question you should be asking to unlock this crucial information. Question 1. Beyond the label, what is this medicine truly doing inside my body? You were standing at the counter, the pharmacist has confirmed your name and date of birth, and you have the bottle in your hand. Your first question is not just, what is this for? But rather, what is this medicine truly doing inside my body? This question shifts the entire dynamic of the conversation. It moves you from being a passive recipient of a pill to an active participant in your own healthcare. The reason this is so vital is that it seeks to understand the mechanism, not just the outcome. For example, knowing a pill is for your blood pressure is one thing, but knowing it lowers your blood pressure by relaxing and widening your blood vessels gives you a completely different level of understanding. I had a patient, a wonderful gentleman named Robert, who was prescribed a new medication for his heart. He came back to see me a week later, very concerned because he felt a bit lightheaded when he stood up too quickly. When we called the pharmacist together, she explained that his specific medication worked by slowing his heart rate to make each pump more efficient. Suddenly, the lightheadedness made perfect sense. It wasn't some strange, alarming reaction. It was a direct, predictable effect of the medicine doing its job. This knowledge empowered him. He learned to get up more slowly, and his anxiety about the new prescription vanished completely. He understood the how, so the what was no longer frightening. Doctors still believe that when you ask for the mechanism, using a simple analogy can be incredibly helpful. You might ask, does this work more like a dam holding water back, or like a wider river channel letting the water flow freely? This encourages the pharmacist to step out of clinical language and give you a mental model that you can actually use to understand what's happening inside you. Question 2. My complete regimen. How will this interact with my other pills and supplements? Now that you have a clearer picture of how this one medication works in isolation, you must place it into the context of your unique body chemistry. Your next question is absolutely critical, and it is, how will this new medicine interact with everything else I take, including my other prescriptions, my vitamins, and any over-the-counter products? You see, your body doesn't distinguish between a potent prescription drug and a natural herbal supplement you bought at the health food store. To your liver and kidneys, they are all just chemical compounds that need to be processed. This is one of the single greatest risks for adults over 60, as you are often seeing multiple specialists for different conditions, and no single doctor may have the complete picture of what you're taking. Your pharmacist, however, is your last and most important line of defense. They are trained specifically to spot these potential conflicts. An interaction doesn't always mean a dramatic, dangerous reaction. Sometimes one supplement can simply make your new prescription less effective by blocking its absorption. Other times, a common over-the-counter pain reliever can amplify the effects of a prescription, creating a dangerously high dose in your system. I remember a patient, Eleanor, who was put on a new blood thinner. She also happened to take a daily fish oil supplement and an occasional ibuprofen for her arthritis, both of which she considered harmless and didn't think to mention to her cardiologist. When she asked her pharmacist this specific question, the pharmacist immediately flagged the combination. He explained that all three substances, the new prescription, the fish oil, and the ibuprofen, can thin the blood. Taken together, they could have dramatically increased her risk of serious bleeding from a minor cut or a simple bump. That 5-minute conversation at the pharmacy very likely prevented a future medical emergency. Doctors still believe that the single most effective tool you can bring to the pharmacy is not a question, but a piece of paper, a comprehensive, up-to-date list of every single thing you take: prescription, supplement, vitamin, herbal tea, over-the-counter pill, along with the dose and the reason you take it. Handing this list to your pharmacist with every new prescription allows them to do their job with the accuracy of a forensic investigator, protecting you from interactions you would never have thought possible. Question 3. The subtle changes. What non-urgent side effects might affect my daily life? You've established what the medicine does and how it gets along with its neighbors in your system. Now you need to understand how it will interact with the most important person in this equation, you. Your next question must be, beyond the scary emergency room warnings, what are the subtle, non-urgent side effects that might actually change how I feel or function day to day? This is an incredibly important distinction. The pamphlet stapled to the bag will list dozens of potential effects, from the mild to the terrifying. But what often causes a person to give up on a vital medication isn't the rare, dramatic reaction, but the persistent, low-grade annoyance that slowly erodes their quality of life. A nagging metallic taste, a feeling of mild but constant fatigue, a bit of brain fog that makes it hard to focus on a good book. These are the things that truly matter. These are the details that the pharmacist, from their experience talking to hundreds of patients, can often provide. They know the difference between the textbook list and the real-world experience. I had a patient, a lovely retired teacher named Arthur, who was put on a very common and effective blood pressure medication. About 3 weeks later, he developed a persistent, tickly, dry cough. It wasn't severe, but it was always there, interrupting his conversations and waking him up at night. He assumed he was just fighting off a virus. After 2 months of this, frustrated and sleep-deprived, he was ready to stop taking the pill altogether, thinking it wasn't worth feeling this poorly. During a refill, he happened to mention his endless cold to the pharmacist. The pharmacist's eyes lit up with recognition. He immediately identified the cough as a well-known, classic side effect of that specific class of medication. He reassured Arthur, contacted his doctor, and they switched him to a different medication that worked just as well, but through a different mechanism. The cough vanished within a week. Had he asked this question from the start, the pharmacist could have preemptively said, "Keep an eye out for a dry cough. If it develops, don't worry, just let us know." That simple piece of information would have saved him months of frustration and prevented him from nearly abandoning a life-saving therapy. Doctors still believe that framing the question properly is key. Instead of a generic, "What are the side effects?" try asking, "Of all the side effects listed, what are the 2 or 3 that you hear patients complain about the most in the first month?" This taps into the pharmacist's invaluable practical experience, not just the clinical data. Question 4. My daily routine. Are there specific foods, drinks, or even activities that I must now avoid or change while I am taking this? A prescription medication doesn't exist in a vacuum. Once you swallow it, it becomes part of a complex chemical soup that is your digestive system, and what you add to that soup can have a profound impact. Certain compounds in everyday foods can either block the enzymes your body needs to process the medication, leading to dangerously high levels in your bloodstream, or they can prevent the medication from being absorbed in the first place, rendering it completely useless. The classic example everyone knows is grapefruit juice, but the list is much more extensive and surprising. It can include things like black licorice,